Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you made yourselves comfortable. We have a few things to go over today. Firstly, we're going to be going through allocation requests, extra allocation requests, and then moving into advisory councils, which I'll give a little intro on that when that time comes. After that, we'll go into open discussion for clubs to announce any events or things they might have. And then we'll review a few things. But yeah, that's the overall structure for today. I do want to start off again by doing a brief description of how extra allocations work, or at least the procedure on how to go about them. Casey will be coming up, taking over essentially the discussion, and he'll go through the various groups. In this case, it'll be BTK and then myself for Student Alliance. During the process, each group will have 10 minutes for presenting and questions, and then there's going to be another 5 minutes, roughly, give or take a couple, to actually do the voting on OrgSync. But yeah, that's that. Go ahead, Katie.
So I'm going to highlight some few things that we need to know before we start. For the attendance, some people really don't spell their name correctly the way it's supposed to be. So you need to make sure you write your name so that we can see it. The second thing is that the attendance is very important for this meeting for different clubs, because it's what determines if a club is going to be active next year. So if you are not writing the club that you are representing, the club may be inactive next year, so which is not good. And yeah, I think that's all. So we are going to move to the next one. Are we going to start with BTK? Yeah, BTK is me. Come here.
Okay. All right. You have the wonderful.
So you'll have like 5 minutes
Yep.
for a short presentation,
Yep.
then 5 rounds for questions. So go ahead.
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Morgan Brown. I'm the president of Phi Theta Kappa. We are asking for $4,500. It's for our trip to Catalyst 2017, which is the national convention. You're wonderful. Okay, so a bit about what Phi Theta Kappa is. It's the National Honor Society of two-year colleges. So there's a minimum requirement of a 3.5 GPA, so we're called the smart people. We do a lot of things not only to help the school, but also help the community. We did an Ice Bucket Challenge where we donated half of what we earned, which was about $450, to the ALS Association. Also, we have a college project that happens every year, and that is something that we do where it's a project that the college wants done. So we take it on, we head it up, we do all the research and that kind of stuff, and are able to do that project. So we are all about student recognition. There's over $90 million in scholarships for Phi Theta Kappa members. And there's actually a list, it's about this long, of things that we actually have to do as a chapter to maintain active. And if we don't do those things to maintain active membership, then people at GRCC are not allowed to join membership on the national level. So they're not eligible for the scholarships, and they can't do all the stuff with our chapter. So, yeah. So Catalyst is the national convention. Every year it starts planning out about 2-3 years in advance. This year it's in Nashville, Tennessee. it's a great networking place. There's four-year colleges that come and are there to talk to students. It's also where the election of the international officers are held. So we actually sit there and can listen to these people like campaign for themselves why they want to be our international officers, which are the people who then connect us to headquarters. So we do have a solid communication system. This year's logo, well, not logo, but like push is transform your chapter and yourself. So it's working on helping your chapter out to also help out its members. So the main part, what are the costs for the trip? So this is only the members' expenses. We're taking 6 members. The advisors are covering their costs. None of this cost is for the advisors. So with the $4,500, obviously there's still about $3,000 that we are covering ourselves. Now, some awesome things to kind of show you what we're like, so that we're not like asking for too much. We are saving so much money. So for the conference registration, we got the early bird fee, which in total, if you were to take the latest registration fee, we're saving about $600 for the membership, or for the members to go. And then the plane fare, we booked it sooner so that, because it's the same week as like high school spring break, so it keeps going up. So we saved money there because we booked it really early. And then the housing, we're staying at an actual house instead of at the convention center. So it's a little bit more than half the cost than staying at the convention center. So the actual savings for the housing is $650. We're also saving money by stopping at a store to buy food to keep at the house, so we don't have to pay the convention food prices. The food, though, is something that we are covering as a chapter. That's not something that this $4,500 is going towards. And then the ground transportation, especially, is something that is something we looked into. There's a whole bunch of stuff we looked into. We even looked for the plane fare, like flying. Instead, we're actually saving money because our advisors are taking a car down and taking all of our luggage so that we don't have to pay the luggage fees. Yep, and then, so what is really amazing about this convention, it's not just going there and networking. There's so many different activities. Personally, I am on the a quiz bowl team. I get a $50 scholarship just for being a part of a quiz bowl team. We're also presenting 2 presentations, which is absolutely amazing. We presented last year and put in our 2 bids thinking we might get one. We actually got both of them, so it's really amazing. Not only are we representing GRCC, but we're also representing our region through that, which is huge. And then there's awards night, which we're actually up for 7 national awards, and one of them being one that we nominated Dr. Ender for. And he's coming with us because he actually did win the award. We heard about that a couple weeks ago. So, and yeah, that's all I got. So.
Yeah, I motion that we move to the voting.
Questions?
Oh, yeah, we need, yeah. Is there any question? Sorry for that. Is there any question? So, about this, because they are requesting 4,500. If you have any questions, just this is the time for it. No questions?
I think she explained it really well.
Okay.
Okay, you can breathe again.
There's no loopholes, there's nothing to poke a hole in, you answered everything.
So yeah, now I motion that we can move to the voting.
Do we have a second? Second, all in favor, raise your hand.
You can answer.
Yeah, in favor of proceeding to vote?
What?
In favor of proceeding to vote, they need to count.
So majority was in favor, so we can move on to voting. I believe the polls should be already up on Earth. So if you guys want to go ahead and take a few minutes to cast your vote.
5 minutes.
GRCC. Email. Unless your staff member. And then it's Blackbird. First name, last name. Are you allowed to do that? We will do that next year. It should be right on
Oh my gosh.
I don't know you. Okay.
Was that second?
Oh.
They just have
Oh, no, you don't even need to explain it.
We introduced each other for the first couple of days. I guess. Yeah. Okay. There was a turn in our class.
No, that was the last one.
I know.
I feel so guilty.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like, shit out of me.
I got shares of this. I was supposed to be, and then he's picking up and then more of a breath when I sat down in the car. The first thing I said was, where got these shares? Which is not true. It's just
It's an awful one.
I just turned around.
No, you're just looking at my vision play.
I just turned around and then you said it.
All right, if that's what you think.
Funny stuff. But,
One of the black cards was, what do you find a lot in heaven? And I put that for
Oh.
no, She felt so guilty about that. That she went on Miss Jude so that he could just rail on her the entire time they were up. The reasoning was, I feel so bad. No questions. Never ask questions. That's number one problem. Never ask questions. You establish that they accept.
Oh, we did.
And people
Oh, it's not. Today's face.
Yeah.
My bad.
I could have told you that from the start.
How's your day?
Pick me up. That guy.
I was fixing for some people.
I didn't realize some of the,
Yeah. We'll just wait until if it goes too long, we'll proceed anyway. I'll let you make a decision. Yeah.
I saw an update. I had seen, yeah, I don't know, maybe I was. I'm not even sure. Well, people that have my, and now like, just a yeah, so now anyways, I called people and I
Your overhead is dressing up
Oh, no, I forgot to eat.
That's the thing, Jose was actually.
We should have that.
Well, my favorite.
Yeah, that's.
My mom bought
It's also what.
Billy,
Whatever. See, the bad way.
So I didn't exist. No. I took her out to bread. So it's like,
I don't know what it's like. It's so bad. We're talking. Oh,
The
yeah.
idea is the community not. Is there?
wait, there's actually a
But like he comes from this. It's like.
That's the thing, like, among my friends, I know
He's
it's
right behind me.
a single guy, almost 30 years old, that has a bunch of
So
stuff.
there's been some heated discussions.
Who said that?
Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys.
Can't do it without an email at the end of it.
So your attention, please. Yeah, so we are going to move forward for the. We took too much. It's too long because people needed help. Some people are not could not vote, so we had to fix something there. So yeah, we are going to move to the Student Alliance. allocation request for the org sync. So
Okay, so this allocation request was actually presented 2 weeks ago now. But figured I'd give a brief review on what it is, what it's for, things like of that sort. So the request is for more portals on OrgSync. Right now, we're currently running low on them, and with the new clubs that have joined, if I remember correctly, 4 new clubs joined. That puts us over the 50 mark, which I'll show you the numbers here in a second. We also want to encourage growth of more student clubs, more diverse clubs, as well as there is some academic department interest in joining OrgSync for their departments. Our goal was to have this approved so that we can be ready for the February 15th deadline. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, which is fine. It's not a big deal. The price of the portals can be prorated. Can you go back to that last one? So yeah, regardless, it's still beneficial. The allocation request is for $2,833, and that would be the highest amount that we'd be spending, considering how we haven't actually proceeded with the contract. I'm sure we can get it easily prorated for a new lower amount. All the remaining money that we'd have left over would go directly back into the extra allocation account. So this is a breakdown of, there's 21 general student organizations, 15 are academic student organizations, 5 of them are departments that are already on OrgSync, and then 6 have the varying titles that are kind of intertwined between the other 2. Regardless, with the 4 new orgs, that puts us above our 50 limit. So this is essentially what it would cost, $2,000 per year for the extra 50 portals. Since we're already started way past the beginning of the first year, the prorated amount is $832, which could be lowered yet again, depending on when we actually proceed. And then the second year would be, of course, $2,000, making it the grand total of $2,833. If 5 departments joined and agreed to the $500 a year cost to use OrgSync, we'd be making enough to where we're only really paying $333 out of the requested amount. If all departments on campus joined, we'd essentially be paying nothing of what we requested, so all that money would essentially go back to the extra allocation account. I forgot to put the final numbers of what it would cost OrgSync overall. If I remember correctly, the contract is for 2 years, and that's $20,000 before the upgrade. With the upgrade, it'd be $24,000. So that would mean that we would be paying about $10,000 for 2 years if all departments joined and paid that $500 a year. But yeah, that's all I have on numbers. I do want to emphasize though that there have been some concerns about allocation requests in the past by Student Alliance. The one specifically referring to upgrading the Club Hub, that one was discontinued and all the money went back into the extra allocation account. Everything that went into putting together and renaming Molly's, or the Club Hub in Molly's name. All of that was on behalf of Student Alliance, so we didn't actually request any money for that. But yeah, just thought I'd put that out there.
So, questions?
Yes, will the departments that already have portals be paying the $500, or will they be grandfathered in? Because it seems like it would be unfair to ask new departments that are going to be making portals on OrgSync to pay $500 when we're not making the old ones do so as well.
Yeah, so let's just pretend that this proposal doesn't pass and we can't get those extra portals. In order to be able to fit all the student orgs, we would have to ask those departments to, essentially, we'd have to kick them off, so to speak. Now, that would be a completely different conversation, of course. As of right now, I feel that can be a conversation that can be had later. Lina, would you mind filling in a little bit?
Yeah, I think that Evan and I had this conversation with academic and non-club departments earlier this year and even in August before school started. And the five departments who are currently on OrgSync all agreed to paying for it if that's the route you guys wanted to take. So we knew that this was gonna come at some point, and those departments seemed agreeable. And so my intention and the proposal would be to have everybody start paying in the fall semester. You know, start next year fresh, because they didn't build it into their budgets for this year. You know, that those budgets are pretty much already spent for this year.
So only departments would be paying, not actual clubs, or would actual clubs have to give up 500 of whatever they have just being OrgSync?
No. Clubs are included in Student Alliance, like you guys pay already
Yeah,
for the service, so we wouldn't ask more money from clubs.
Is it possible to get off of OrgSync if we don't want to use it? Like, some clubs don't even use it.
I
Like, it's possible to
understand
stay a club and not use OrgSync?
OrgSync is our official way of communication with clubs, and there are some federal regulations and guidelines, and so that's our way to do it, and we have to do it that way, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's the route that Student Alliance chose years ago.
let me kind of emphasize a good point. Because OrgSync essentially gets paid by the student activity fee, we felt that if an academic department wanted to join, they should have to pay money because they're essentially benefiting off of that student activity fee. So no, student orgs wouldn't have to pay any money, because then that would completely eliminate the whole reason for doing it in the first place.
We have one more meaningful question. Go ahead.
So if I'm correct, portals are like what a club uses to gather all this information on a page.
Yeah, so when you go on OrgSync, there's Student Alliance, there's CAB, there's BTK, there's HSO, there's
So each one of those
admin.
pages would be a portal.
Exactly.
And so essentially, there's quite a few inactive clubs at GRCC, so why don't they delete some of those inactive club pages before starting to order new portals?
Yeah, so if I remember,
Inactive clubs are not included in the total count. They do not count against the 50.
I feel like there's not 21 clubs in here though right now.
Academic clubs are not required.
No, not academic
Yeah.
clubs, that was 15. Like 21 actual clubs that have to come every meeting or else we lose money. It doesn't feel like there's 21 here right now.
I also feel that a couple of clubs can consolidate.
Yeah, I think, that was the question, because it's already defined. And I gave one more, so I motion that we move to the voting.
do we? Second? All in favor to proceed to, all in favor to proceed to voting? Raise a hand.
For the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a couple minutes. Go ahead and vote on OrgSync. The poll should be open.
Yeah, it's 2 to 3:30 every other day.
So they're saying $2,000. We're getting 500. No, we're spending $2,000 right now, so the next year. They don't.
The 2,800 is, it's
It's
from
for a
now
2-year
until
contract.
summer of 18.
It's for a 2-year contract.
And then you pay
And
$2,800 again, right?
the academic departments are paying $2,500 per semester. Per year. That's still an additional, now, $2,500, almost $2,500, $2,300 that we're getting from the academic department.
When they go
Like,
into
this
the
is
club?
what I'm, what I've been trying to say is, this is a way for you guys to make the money back.
It's not big. If it were equal, that'd make more sense. We're gaining money.
Yeah, we're getting $500 already for the 5 that already have portals, and we'll gain more departments on portals.
I never remember, like, we have.
I wrote it out. Two different organizations.
You don't know what yeah, I've seen that. Why not consolidate them into one portal? Because they're two different organizations that do the same thing.
We had
Sure, they might do the same thing, but they are sponsored by different groups, they are different sections, like, there could be 2 outdoorsy groups, or there could be, you know, the same argument can be made for anything. The point is not to restrict groups, the point is to get more opportunities.
That's true. It's just like, it seems like, I mean, ultimately, there should be a religious organization for every sponsor.
So start. That's my argument. Let's get it going. Let's
I
find out what's
thought I was
happening.
gonna get looked at when I came back with one full plate. This guy just said to have like 2 mini mountains. Why you gotta show me out, man?
You know what I mean, though, Ryan? Let's start. Do it.
Like, I know I'm probably gonna get yelled at if I wanted to start a church of Satan here in Jersey.
Why?
Do you know how many Christians will show up to the first meeting and say no?
You have every right to be next year.
Although I'm
And
more.
ultimately, I'm the person who signs off on it.
Yeah, but ultimately I want to start a whole through over church of Satan. But that's because that's I want to. I gotta go get 3 plates because I'm down because I got a reputation of hold. You know, eat me. I can out eat anyone, but between those 2 plates, he's gotten just as much as I've gone up there with 3, like 3 trips. Now I gotta go get 2 full plates. I got pizza coming later too, so. Give me.
I'm never spending $5. I'm spending like $5. No. I'm literally thinking. I don't. I hope I have
Your attention, please. So now we are done with the extra allocations. We are going to move to the advisory council. So we are moving to the advisory council. So I'm going to pass the board to Jose.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with a little overview about what an advisory council is, and then we'll proceed to the actual activity, so to speak. So, the idea behind an advisory council is that we would like to get you guys more involved in a way that is mutually beneficial. We have these councils set up into 3 different categories, one for communications, one for operations, and one for student outreach. So this is kind of like a general outline guidance. You should have at least one on each desk. I didn't print out too many. But essentially what would happen is, here in the next few minutes, we'll have 3 different tables set up to where you can join the conversation. And what'll happen is, for example, KZ will be in charge of operations. He'll be giving you a brief overview of what we've been doing to streamline and make the allocation request a little better. And that'll be the time for anyone who joins on that table to give advice, give some ideas. And even if you don't want to speak out loud, that's what those little sticky notes are for, so you can write on them and then just like submit them. I put those 2 black poster boards in the back so you guys can stick them right on there. Then we also have communications. Unfortunately, Dennis couldn't be here today, so I'm going to take over that advisory council today. And then we have student outreach, which Marcus is going to be helping me out with today. But yeah, that's the gist of it. If you guys want to start, you guys are more than welcome to go to any council you'd like. So let's do this one over here for operations. And then maybe like that corner one for communications, and then I guess this one over here for student outreach. Or, yeah. But yeah, let's go ahead and move to those tables, please.
This direction? Let's go to that one. I don't know. I don't care, let's go to that one. Oh, I agree.
No.
Whatever you think.
Well, like your face, you were like looking for my reaction, you know?
Hello, good friends. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while.
So we're gonna take the next 15 minutes to work through this. If we feel that we need more time, we can have more time. Otherwise, we'll proceed to the next item on the agenda.
It's like, it's like, just like, how can we get, like, how can we, advertise, like, student organizations, whether it's works in that, or start to just like things like that.
Right, but I think
The best we can do for that whole process, because we're looking into other ways to, like talking about it, orientation, because I feel like a lot of kids like don't know. When we say student alliance, it's like, what's that? When we say like student orientation, or you can call like this, or you can do this, they're just like, they don't understand where to get that information and access it. Which is kind of why we started getting great over person accounts. You're part of the club.
Ultimately, with student outreach, we need to was the importance of joining student organizations also for the professional lives as well. Like for me, I put on my resume, president of the Foreign Affairs Club, event organization. This is what things like that. These are all skills that ultimately are going to help them out in the future.
Most definitely.
3 hours.
Do Do you ever think of like a way, like how you do that? Like I understand, like I feel like.
I mean, ultimately through the CLS classes, I mean, we could, like, even having an entire week devoted to resume building and student involvement on campus.
So like the SLT meetings or?
No, yeah, student lines is still
Improvement or
tabling.
you just like three different like groups.
Well, not necessarily recruiting, but tabling, like what, because I know they've done that in the past, they just set up,
Tabling is like literally
setting up the table and talking about the club, 'cause that's what CAP does.
I know,
That works.
yeah.
Yeah, and Student Alliance used to do that.
Board of Affairs used to did that as well. Signed off by email to non-institutional.
It all depends on approach.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just set up a table and expect people to walk up to you. You gotta do something. But so I don't know how successful it was for Student Alliance in the past, but recruitment tables work for CAP really well.
Actually, guys, we have a business cards, so we have, five students in we weren't really involved in ours, we can't go word enough to but what we do have on there is blank spots, so when our next meeting date, I'm there, should show up. And then if we see someone like, especially for us, we are like, do you have to be guide? Well, hey, you should do this, like, you start a conversation with them, and then you're like, well, you should think about coming and looking at this, like, the next level, behind you, there's also a little spot in there that, is personally invited by, and you can write your name. That way, you have a level of personal connection with them, and then when they come to me, they're like, oh, Morgan gave me this card, like, I thought I should go look it out. So, we actually had, I'd say last semester we had probably about 15 people. And that's not just it does work.
Like Board of Affairs will be discovered that Fontlock is actually, or whatever. I've gone to classrooms like for international relations, American politics and stuff, and actually done like presentations. For that, I've also got emails stating that, take a look at this club, this is where they're gonna meet, if you want to further have any interest in this certain topic, these guys are the ones that are the student experts on the campus.
For anniversary, what we just ordered, like, swap numbers, ask me about anniversary stickers, so that like we're like a walking billboard, so that we constantly have it on us. And then for us, it's easy for us to be out in the open, like in the Rita Grill and other things like that, because we're doing the Bible. So we get a lot of meetings. I can see how that would be really hard for other groups.
I think another thing that I've thought about is maybe like a couple of methods is maybe start a couple like this isn't against university or anything. There's 2 Christian organizations, 3 of you food for thought on this campus. No Jewish organizations, no Muslim organizations, no Hindi organizations. They need to be included in what's happening. Even if we just start these organizations and have like a skeleton crew, like starting like just say that they're willing to prepare and being trained. We're looking for people interested in helping improve the relations of Muslim students on campus. Jewish students interested in eventually phase out that skeleton crew for an actual council within that. Ultimately, it's rules, but I mean, they feel that their voice is heard.
nobody uses the library. I mean, students, there was one reason, like we had even. Why are you here for that close talk? I didn't know why I was like, and I talked to everyone that comes in the library. So the library is actually a good place.
I actually have an idea, and this, ultimately may cost a lot of money. But trying to get on one of these public access shows, like VR, or, maybe on one of the local, like, television stations and stuff. And maybe ask them, host maybe like
Which he needs.
hours to discuss about clubs and just have a couple student leaders up there, have people that can give information about the clubs on GRCC and have a special program. GRCC, we're known throughout the Grand Rapids area, but not a lot is known about what happens. I mean, if we start a radio station or something, that would help.
We didn't know that.
I know a lot of schools that do start their own radio stations to get the information out to the public about what's happening here at their schools and everything.
It's kind of like an extension of like the collegiate.
And we have the collegiate, but really how many people that read it or sign up that are not included, that are not a part, that aren't already in GRCC?
No BCC.
If I can, going off of what both of you said, people obviously don't know about these resources enough, and the Student Alliance should be like that sort of hub. I know Student Life, the Student Life office is kind of that office that students go to get information about resources on campus, but maybe Student Alliance could also move towards being that informs students about all the resources that aren't being utilized to their full
I submitted I signed it.
Nobody uses
it. Nobody uses it though. People don't know we have it.
Another thing that we can do is also like a part of the application process at GRCC, like when a student is already a part of GRCC, I know we give out like sexual, assault seminars and stuff before you even come to GRCC. Maybe include one of the things that they have to fill out is an interest form, and a part of that interest form is they fill out gauge of interest of what they like. And when they're done with it, show it, like flash up like, oh, you're interested in X, Y, and Z. Here are the clubs that do this. Here are the meetings that we know, and here is how to contact us. Ultimately, it would probably cost more money, but as we saw today, we have plenty of money to do this.
It's almost having like a master sheet that has like all the clubs, where they meet. So like if people want, they can they're not like what you're working, like yeah, just like one place where all I can do is one.
Yeah, that, also like geared towards like just generalized interests or something.
So like complete my thought, if Student Alliance can sort of become that known as the club, or those people that students look to and get information about resources, then that'll increase the interest of students to actually
You're planning it because
partake in Student Alliance meetings.
There are a lot of folks like this year for, it was basically brand new. No, you should be able to. Have you also not only having the information, but you need also having more communication. We already took the alliance and those clubs that don't really know how to advertise, are just kind of starting out or are kind of like redoing their club type of thing.
So having that communication of all that information between the student alliance and clubs as well.
Maybe set up workshops during meetings.
Well, no, I mean,
You know, during student alliance meetings, workshops on how to do that, or
until, you know,
you know, you kind of have to like feel it.
Girl, session type of leadership thing.
Yeah, exactly. I usually have to
yeah, you're waiting for the day where I say that, and then
do
you're
it in
gonna
the
pick
fall.
this and this and this and this and this.
like, you're gonna have to
Be
kind
like,
of feel,
okay.
hear people out, like what is something that all the kids are.
Just so you know, it's already done.
And set up workshops around that.
So where's your?
Another thing I know, I've seen you in the club hub, like, you have
I don't
office
have
hours.
Facebook right now, because I just
It's not
started.
required by our bylaws, hey, but I type on myself as well, to choose office, where I'm there as a person. And I think like that would help too, like if we have like a schedule of like, okay, like this club is gonna be in the club hub at this time, and this time, and this time, like, then they could go into the students.
Sort of like an office, yeah, we do.
Yeah, because like, a lot of people, they don't even know what the club is or what it does and what it's for. Yeah. You know, and because I have students, like, we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be using next week for our video. And I have lots of students saying, we're student 20. We're student one. On the first one.
Where's students are?
Yeah.
Where's the parking ring? I'm doing circles for an hour, like.
That's when you gently reach into somebody's heart and slap them and point them in the right direction.
Yeah, kind of got something, like, I know you guys are talking about all these problems and stuff, but I'm saying, like, mindset of a normal person that doesn't do involve things, like, they just want to be in class, get out. It doesn't matter, like, you guys similarities with, like, anime or video games, like, you might have best similarities, but at the end of the day, it's just like, I want to do my classes and go. So, like, there's instead of where I only joined the club just because of food. Honestly, that's the only reason.
We're only allowed food once a semester by student alliance.
Well, I'm just saying, like, guys.
I know. We don't have the money.
It's good that that works, but like you should have that, like that community too, right? Like you're saying.
Students need to understand that student organizations ultimately respect their best interests.
Well, you guys, I mean, it's just not just, at some point, you said it every time.
I mean, we already have, like, we're apparently now having the board that show up to every single, like based upon how often you show up to the clubs and stuff.
Like, most of my friends that go in any kind of CC here, Ohio, whatever, they don't care. I mean, I don't even see them like, I am this person, some sort of initial interaction, like whether it's food or connecting with the person through like specific things, and then branching out saying, oh, there's this, big on what.
I mean, some clubs like foreign affairs, where each club have to care about foreign affairs in order to be interested. And you gotta give it, you would actually want to do the research that you have to do anyway in order to go to the events that we do. Nobody wants to do any of those three things.
It's like, you have to find the right person who's interested, make a connection with that person.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about just like going up to what we, like our leaders within our political science department, make it an academic club. You know, and just say, hey, you want bonus points, you join the fair. Like, you just target every pre-poli sci student like myself.
but the goal, what is it?
Not a terrible idea, it's just everybody's gonna hate it. Because nobody wants to feel like a done thing, and you have to do things for that.
So it's not considered a.
If they're doing it for extra points, and that, shoot that
I know, but then I get a whole bunch of lazy people that just want the extra point. Like, I don't even wanna like make it like a huge thing, just enough like to cover like a lost day or something.
Okay, so really, they're like, we're supposed to be trying to figure out ways to do that. So that way they elaborate on so that would be
New facts every time.
position themselves. I don't know about future and for the school and the class. But they're paying a lot of hours. Or like lawyers. Really? Involved like his so probably really to.
Collaborative is what we're gonna get. And Campus Activities Board, we put on these large scale events like every so often. And we're always asking and encouraging other clubs, like, do you want to be involved? Do you want to set up a table during our event? Because we get a lot of student traffic at our events. So it's a perfect time for other clubs to just set up and advertise for their clubs. But
It's like,
always, we'll get a couple of clubs that are interested.
That's the thing, what I try doing is try to come up with
it's like,
ideas.
no, I don't.
Yeah.
Like, because it was so hard to
Yeah.
leave.
Which kind of felt so bad. Ultimately, it was like,
That's why it's so like this sort of thing.
I mean, if we start now, we can see
If you want to go out and get
like I said, some niche clubs, like myself, we don't know who to, like,
That's kind of like,
who to
like,
It's more of just so like I'm saying cabs, like you get so many students, like that's really all you need is just you need a lot of students flowing through a certain area. And, yeah. Right. So it doesn't matter so much like what event is being messed with my club, it's just like where am I gonna get a lot of traffic?
for us, for Thursday, like, when we like have our big, we have this big black chalkboard that you probably have all seen. And we do contact information, and we get it done, we go through and we type 3 emails, Facebook find them. And then we meet up with them, like we talk to them, for coffee, and then we spend quality time with that one person. That's a way to like give them that personal touch. Somebody actually spent their time. It is amazing, and that's the regional activity, that's amazing. It's crazy to see. You see all these people and she's sad. Yeah, we found like that was something that was big. We didn't do. Two followers.
A lot of really good ideas.
Are you
I
listening?
mean, definitely like really good like arts, different clubs, different organizations. See like what organizations work. You got your
Pretty much, right? So they needed some.
Okay, everyone. Now that we did this little exercise, I'd like to go ahead and proceed with the meeting. We actually went a little bit over 15 minutes, which is fine. I think everyone had good conversation. I didn't hear everyone, of course, but there's enough chatter that I felt like things were going pretty well and productive. So let's go ahead and move on to open discussion. Are there any clubs that would like to speak? Go ahead, Brianna.
So next week is going to be our Spirit Week. Monday, we're having our Breakfast of Champions with the Jersey presidents and the Grand Rapids Drive members. That's from 9 to 10:30, and it serves about 20 people, so it's first come, first served. Tuesday is meet and greet with the Grand Rapids Drive members again. Open gym at the Fourth Fieldhouse from 2 to 4. Wednesday is going to be the Student Leader Dodgeball Tournament with also the Grand Rapids Drive members. It's going to be from 4 to 6. Thursday is going to be a t-shirt swap in the Raider Grill from 11 to 2. So you'll just exchange a non-Jersey school shirt, and then you'll receive a Jersey t-shirt. And then February is the men's and women's basketball game. It's from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Ford Fieldhouse. And then we're having a dance after on the third floor where counseling is from 9:30 to 11:30. And then we are also passing out tickets, I think about 100 to go to the game for the Grand Rapids Drive versus Rio Grande Canyon Valley Vipers.
To go off of what Bree said, there's also that banner creating competition. So we sent out email through, I think, emails and OrgSync messages. We tried to reach all the groups and clubs. So if you weren't aware already, we were hosting this banner competition. So your club, your organization would go to Student Life, pick up your cloth, your banner cloth, and your paint supplies, and then decorate it however you'd like. And then it's a competition. So there is a grand prize. First place, we are awarding them with $250 for their budget, for their club. And second place is 150. Is that right? 150. And then third place gets 100.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool.
Nice.
So if you weren't aware of that, that's happening right now. The deadline to turn in your banner is next Monday. We had the supplies last Friday, so we wanted to give you guys like at least a week to work on it. I'm sorry if you didn't find out until just now, but you have until Monday, 5 p.m. to turn it into Student Life office. So yeah, if you want to win some, compete, yeah, that'd be great. We're going to announce the winners at the men and women's basketball game next Friday. Yes?
What's the banner dimensions?
I don't know exactly, but there are some.
They're a yard.
A yard.
Yeah.
Talia has like all the the rules, sort of the limitations of what is required or what you can and can't do, that sort of thing. Also, so ideally we have these flyers. I thought it would be nice if you're willing for other clubs to take a little stack and pass it out to your people, help spread the word. So I have a stack of flyers up here if you want to go ahead and just take a little bit after the meeting's over and hand it out to your people. That'd be great. And in return, in the future, if you ever need or want CAB to advertise for any of your events, we're happy to do that. I know BASU is having their Black History Month celebration going on next week during Spirit Week, and we're more than happy to tell students about their events that are going on. They don't actually interfere with any of our things, thankfully, so that's cool. We're not taking away from their celebration. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Yeah.
Are there any others?
Yeah, like he said, the BASU is having 3 events next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They're all from 12 to 2. Tuesday and Wednesday are here, and the first one is like a soul food dinner meal. Wednesday, we're having African dancers and African food. And then Thursday is in the Far Side Room, and we're having a comedian come in, so anyone can come.
Excellent. I'd like to go ahead and add, currently applications are open for leadership positions in Student Alliance. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. If I remember correctly, the first week of March is when the form closes.
The Friday before spring break, 5 p.m. is when they're due.
Okay.
March
Yep.
3rd.
But yeah, so yeah, do we have any updates on the leadership banquet? As far as,
Yes. So, well, maybe not for everyone. So, sorry. Nominations closed last week Friday, so if you received a nomination, you should have received an email from me on Monday. If not, you should have received one today. Apologies if you got it late. My email wasn't like, I don't know what's going on with my email, so I didn't realize that some people didn't get it and some people did, so I apologize for that. But not, if you got nominated, your papers are due on Sunday by midnight, but I'm going to go ahead and extend it until 12 on Monday. So if you can get it in by 12 on Monday. Let's see, leadership input. Besides that, no, we're on schedule. If you haven't RSVP'd already, go ahead and do so. But you have until March 24th to RSVP, so you have some time.
and then, just as a side note, for those of you who registered for the leadership conference this weekend, just a reminder, I believe registration is from noon to 12:45-ish, or I'm sorry, check-in. So just a reminder. I'd like to thank everyone here, specifically on the allocation request and how well you guys have adapted to using a little more formal methods. So that makes me really happy. I especially want to say that I appreciate Alana a lot because she was one of the people that was asking quite a bit of questions in a good way, very constructive, during our last meeting. And I felt that those are the kind of questions that need to be asked regardless of who's requesting money. People have a right to know what the money is being used for, how it's beneficial, and how it's, basically what's going on, the details. It's one thing to talk to someone that's presenting and have them hear their argument, but if other people don't hear that same discussion, even though you're already ready to vote, they never get to hear that discussion because no one stood up and said, hey, what's going on with this, or what details can you give me on X thing? So that's the kind of conversations that need to happen when anyone asks for money. So I just wanted to say thanks to everyone that has been contributing to that discussion. But yeah. I'd like to go into just a quick overview of the advisory councils. Casey, if you want to give some highlights on what was discussed in your table, I'd really appreciate it. You don't have to say everything, just like one or two main things. Just so everyone else can hear what happened.
Okay. First, we talked about they suggest on the voting system, they want us to do like, instead of going there to the computers and getting into all seeing all that, because they want us to keep swiping like, oh, I read a card, just come there, swipe, then you can, yeah, oh, yes, right?
Yeah, yes or no,
Yes.
or don't do anything.
I feel like we could use the SAR system that's on at least most of the computers here, that we use on student council, and rig it to vote, so that we can just swipe it in, rather than like have to sign in every time, every student, every time
No, because it gets pretty cumbersome regardless.
And especially since what we did today, not a big deal.
Yeah.
We did the PTK, voted for it. Then we had the student life presentation and then voted for it, which
Yeah.
for some people might require signing in twice.
Right, right on. Yeah, and it can be pretty cumbersome.
But
So,
also, they also added something like clickers, different kids using clickers those
Yeah.
are two main things.
right on. Yeah, so those are some things we can look into. And the main reason why I'm having Casey bring up some of the highlights is that so everyone else can kind of hear the gist of what happened at that table. And if you want to contribute, you can via email or in a future meeting. But yeah, Marcus, do you want to go ahead and highlight some
Yeah,
of your
sure.
stuff?
So we were talking about student outreach, and what we really came up with is just like providing incentives for students, like saying like why being in part of a club organization is like good for you, is that, you know, building up your resume, improving your experience. But also, instead of having clubs where you're just doing it because like you're interested in, like, let's say you're in French club and you're interested in French. Instead of just being interested in French, we want you to have like a personal connection. So I know that Phi Theta Kappa does this. We send out handwritten notes to people saying like, we noticed you have a 3.5 and that you would be like a good candidate for Phi Theta Kappa. Morgan says she wants to, you know, see you at the next meeting, and it gives you like the meeting time, where it is, and what we'll be talking about. So it actually like implements like a personal connection instead of just, oh, I'm going to show up with a bunch of people, it's going to be kind of awkward. It's more of like, oh, Morgan sent me, or Morgan wants me to come. So it's more like it's more profound, it's more in depth, and you're actually like enjoying what you're doing instead of, you know, just hanging out with, you know, uncomfortable. We also talked about using like places that we don't use a lot. So like for the example, the library, like no one ever really uses that. So we want to like have like groups use that. So anyone that goes through there can like see other organizations. We can hand out flyers. People can start having buttons. I know that InterVarsity, you guys talked about this. They have buttons that say, if you want to know about InterVarsity, just like ask me. So instead of, you know, not knowing like anybody, you can actually see people and say like, hey, I'm really interested in that. So can you answer a couple questions for me? When are your next meetings? What do you guys talk about? How does that work? I know we've talked about this before, but having like more in-depth, like, not really instructions, but like a description of like how like the clubs work at orientation, because a lot of people just like don't know that we even exist. You say Student Alliance and they say, what's that? So those are the big things we talked about.
Cool, thank you.
Are we allowed to add
What's that?
Are we allowed to add right now? That's a few things for sure.
Normally I would probably say yes, but not this time around. Yeah. Let me just do some of my highlights from communications, and then we might be able to add a few minutes. So one of the things we talked about is outlining a plan for email communication, so it's not too much and not too little. So these are just kind of ideas still. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, one reminder email. They may or may not be too much, but I'm more than welcome to suggestions. And then basic things like starting to create flyers that can be reused for ongoing years. So more of a generic flyer per se. And then one of the things, we kind of started getting into communication in the sense of like the individual members getting to know each other. And so we were thinking that it would be a good idea to do like a kind of an icebreaker type activity halfway through every meeting, or I should say every town hall / collaborative meeting, with the purpose being, you know, after you're in a meeting for so long, after a while, regardless of your interest level, it will get to, you know, taper off as far as excitement. So we thought that would be a good way to re-liven people up, I guess, so to speak. Some ideas were you write something about yourself in a sticky note without your name. You punch it up, and then a group of people do this and they throw it like essentially on the floor, and then one person goes up and picks one up at random, reads it, and then people try to guess who that person is. So, you know, little things like that that can be easily set up. There's more ideas that we came up with, but that's just the highlight. But yeah. If you want to add something else, go ahead.
I feel like we should have a list of the non-academic clubs in the enrollment center.
And like where they meet, that'd be nice too. I think we were talking about this online like
Okay.
a while ago. Like we were like, we should just have like a form board, like what clubs, where the clubs meet, like what times, what days, just like near the mailboxes, because that's where like all the clubs are. You can just take the mailbox names and put where they are.
Yeah, no, that's good. Katie, did you get that so we can actually look at it later?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect, perfect. But yeah. Katie, do you have any updates for the group? Any report? So with that being said, if no one has anything to add, we can go ahead and close the meeting.